What's up everybody, Ryko here. Well, it seemed like some of you wanted to see some test hands with the deck I brought to the most recent LA Regional. So, here it is. If you didn't see this deck profile that was posted last week, I would highly recommend checking it out, as you can see what I chose to run within the deck, extra deck, and side deck. But, for now, we're going to play out some hands, and as I'm milling, I'll walk you through my thought process. Alright, let's get our deck shuffled here. Want to make sure it's nice and shuffled up, so that way the double Mally plus Denier that's always clumped up in the deck can maybe separate and not brick my hand. Alright, let's go ahead and draw our hand. So, we've got Mally, Omnis, Talent, and also Imseti and Super Poly. So Imseti definitely saves us here, or saves this hand at least. We can pitch Imseti in the Mally to search us the Sark. And if they ash us, we do have Talents. And if they hand trap us, we have Super Poly plus Havness as well, if it's not just an ash. So this hand is definitely solid. But in this instance, we're going to play as if we're not being hand trapped. We'll go ahead and grab the King Sark, and then I'll draw a card. We've got a Mothman. Okay. We will activate the Sark, and we will use the Sark's effect. In this case, at this point, if they haven't ashed yet, chances are if they have a hand trap, it's not Droll, because they would have drolled you here, and it's probably Imperm. So Talent isn't really going to be worthwhile anymore, so we can go ahead and pitch it with Sark. Gotta go find the Happy now. Happy we didn't draw Happy. And then we will actually also summon Mally, because knowing my luck, I will most likely mill off the other Mally, so we'll summon the other Mally from the deck. Yeah, this deck is definitely powerful, and I think what makes it so strong is the fact that nobody really knows how to hand trap it. Well, there's like generic good spots like Ash Shiren, but it's always hand dependent, so hand trapping this deck can be very difficult. We'll go ahead and special summon our two monsters because we got a King Sarcophagus, so we can just pendulum summon from the grave for free. And then with the 2 level 8s, we will go ahead and make our zombie vampire. We're going to go ahead and put it in the extra monster zone because we will be linking off zombie vampire, and we want as many zones as possible in case we hit like really broken mills. So I'll go ahead and activate detaching Imseti because Imseti is a dark, so if we hit a fusion, or if we hit one of the fusion names, we can fuse with it, and we'll go ahead and mill 4. Okay, that is very unfortunate. And if our opponent had another monster, we would be able to special summon their monster. But in this instance, we can't special anything. So, I don't know, maybe we're playing against Runic Stun and they don't have any monsters. We'll go ahead and activate Soul Lake and search. Although it is unfortunate we're not getting the search off zombie vampire, it's still not the worst thing in the world. And the odds of you milling no monsters is very unlikely in this deck. I would also like to point that out. So with this specific hand, let me think here. We can either go for a Bahamut Shark play, or we can go for a Beatrice. We'll go ahead and go for a Beatrice here. I think in this case, I actually may want to activate Danger Mothman. Actually, we'll go ahead and set the Super Poly first. And go ahead, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3. So we hit the Rhino Heart. That's actually very good here. So we'll special, and then we will go ahead and draw 1. Shriva Karma, interesting. Well, that's actually fine because we have Super Poly, so that's a pretty good pitch off Super Poly. So we'll go ahead and use Rhino's effect, specialing it from the grave and pitching the Havness, and then we will go 1 Havness, 2 Rhino. So we can either go into a Beatrice by making a Garura and overlaying it with Malicious, or we can go into a Mud Dragon with the Imseti to make Bahamut Toad. I think in this specific instance, I would probably feel better going for Garura, because Garura will also get us a draw, plus it sends anything we really need, and then we can just make Bahamut Toad later. So yeah, we'll go ahead and resolve the Havness, putting back the Merly we just sent off the Rhino Heart, and we will special summon Garura. We will then take the Garura and the Mally, overlay them together for Beatrice. She is so good. This card low-key should be banned. There are people who will deny it, but being able to send anything, so good. Alright, we'll go ahead and detach Garura, and in this instance, we're probably gonna send off another fusion so we can simply make Bahamut Toad. So we'll send off a Merly, and then Merly will go ahead and get the fusion summon, putting back herself and Imseti for the Garura, or not the Garura, the Mud Dragon, my bad. Then we will overlay these two, so now Rhino Heart won't be banished as well, so that'll be really good for Bahamut. And if you want, you can make Dweller as well. Oh, we did hit the Zombie Vampire, so we will know what we're playing against. So if you want, oh yeah, and we also get the draw off of Garura. Forgot to activate that effect. Screams fantastic here. But yeah, you can make a Dweller if the deck is bad against Dweller. So like, let's say you're playing against Unchained or Tearlament, and you mill their deck, you see what they're playing. You can go ahead and just make a Dweller instead of the Bahamut here. But in this instance, the example we gave earlier, we're playing against Runic Stun. One of my close buds plays Runic Stun, and it's a bit frustrating to play against, but not impossible to play against. We'll go ahead, for this sake, and just make Bahamut Toad. We'll put Toad not in the Animo Zone, and then we'll use Zombie Vampire here and Mothman to make an SP Little Knight. And then honestly, I'm kind of comfortable in this field. So we don't need to really go too hard here. The Toad being able to get us a negate plus follow-up, this being able to get us any dump, SP being able to dodge effects, like let's say if they imperm our Beatrice after we use the effect, plus SP is just phenomenal. Plus we have Super Poly. Super Poly will be discarding Trivikarma, and Trivikarma will get us follow-up. So yeah, this board is definitely really crazy here. There's a lot of point of interactions, and if you're looking at it, it doesn't even really look like it's like bad to play against, but I don't know. There's definitely a lot here, and if you're playing Tearlaments correctly, you should be able to win off that board. So that's just one example. This deck can do a lot. It's definitely a good call to play Tearlament this format. I just hope when the ban list rolls around, they don't hit anything else other than the 05s. Beatrice would be fine because she's broken, and that would be understandable. But yeah, anyways, we'll go over ban list more. I've got a video coming up, which I'm excited to tell you all, but there will be a ban list prediction coming up soon, and I can let you know my thoughts on what I believe should be banned and what shouldn't be banned, especially based on player feedback. So looking forward to that video. All right, we're going into another test hand, so we'll go ahead and draw our hand and see what it is. We got a Sark, Super Poly, Imseti, Tier Cash, and Planet. All right, this hand is very powerful as well. So we have a few different ways to attack this board here. Going first, it's very, very strong. And then going second, we drew Foolish Goods. So that's also incredible. We can definitely crack a board, especially since we drew Super Poly plus Engine. So I don't know. With this hand, we're going to play going first again. We're going to play as if our opponent isn't playing any hand traps, which in this format, a lot of people are playing Talents and Thrusts again. So it's pretty likely to not really run into a lot of hand traps, but who knows, that's ever changing. But with this hand, we're going to just play as if we're not playing against any hand traps. We'll probably, because we have our Sark already, we're going to just play into Droll a little more, and we're going to go ahead and activate Planet, and Planet will search us. In this instance, we're going to go Rhino Heart. We may not even use the Imseti. We could just use Sark to pitch the Imseti to dump the Happy, so that way we don't have to run into Ash or like be hurt too bad by Ash, and I think that's the way we're going to go about it. So I will go ahead and lead with this engine, because there's not really much else I can do other than that, other than normal Rhino Heart and make a Toad. There it is. And then in this instance, we'll go ahead and give it a quick riffle shuffle, because we will just simply lead with the Horse cards. So we'll go ahead and Pendulum Summon from the grave, as one should be able to do all the time. And we will overlay into the Zombie Vampire in the extra monster zone. We'll go ahead and use Zombie Vampire, detaching Imseti, because Imseti is a dark, and we will mill 4. Okay, we got much better mills this time around, and we're gonna go ahead and special the Diviner, which is an absolutely incredible play here, and we are essentially now milling 9. We're gonna go ahead and activate our Chain Links. We're gonna go 1 Merly, because we want that to be the last thing we do, 2 Solic to search, and then 3 Diviner to dump. So Diviner will resolve, dumping a Kelbeck. Solic will resolve, now we can search a Shiren, and then Merly will resolve, giving us a Fusion Summon. And in this instance, we're probably going to go for a Garura, since Diviner is now a level 6. And now here, on a new chain, I'll go ahead and use Kelbeck, and we'll each mill 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fantastic mills. Oh my goodness. At this point, we now know what our opponent's playing. If they're playing Tearlament, we have the Shuffler for it. If they're playing Unchained, we know to make Dweller. There's a lot of ways we can pivot here, but in this instance, I'm just going to go ahead and just make the normal board. Again, we're going to try and push for Bahamut Toad, and we're going to go ahead and see if we can get a Barone on top of that too, now that we have a Destrudo. Chain Link 1 Tier Cash, Chain Link 2 Scream, since we only have one more trap left, we don't want to mill it. So we'll go ahead and search it, and then we'll mill 2. Give it some riffle shuffles, some cuts. This next layer for the next 2 to come down. Okay, we got Nessie back in the grave. That's going to be good for Kaleido Heart plays later on, whether it be this turn or the following turn. in this instance, I think what we're gonna do is go ahead and overlay these two for Beatrice. And we're gonna go ahead and hold the Beatrice in case they like Nibiru or something. I don't know, Nib's not too good against this deck because there's always just so much gas. And by the time you want to Nib, before they put up a negate, they usually have something like a Garura or a Shiren or something you don't want to Nib. So I don't know, playing against this deck, I don't think Nib is really the strongest. But in this instance, we're just gonna hold the Beatrice and see what we mill off Shiren. Beforehand, we're gonna set the Solik, so that way the only tier card in our hand will be Tier Cash. So that way we can chain it when trying to revive back Rhino. So the way this chain link's gonna work, we'll go ahead and use Shiren, specialing, sending the Rhino Heart, and then milling 3. We already used Merly. Rhino Hearts, all right, and then that's some fusion fodder. So in this chain link, we're gonna go 1 Rhino, and then if your opponent doesn't have anything, we can then go chain link 2 Tier Cash. So the way this will resolve is Tier Cash will special, and then banish. Go ahead and banish that because we still do have the quick play spell in the deck to grab us the trap if we mill it. And then Rhino will still special and then it'll attempt to send, but because we have no more tier cards in hand, we just don't send, but it'll still special. So that's an important thing to note. And then right now we'll go ahead and go on a new chain link, 1 Rhino Heart, 2 Tier Cash. So we'll go ahead and mill 3 and then send 1 to grave. Trevor Karma is fantastic. Ooh, and we got a Guido. And now we'll go ahead and dump. So we already used Merly, so we'll go ahead and now send Havnus. And we'll go chain link 1 Havnus, chain link 2 Agito. Give it 1 final cut, and we'll go ahead and mill 5 for Agito. 1, 2, 3. Oh, there's a Shuffler. 4, 5. Oh, and there's our Mally. Okay, that's gonna make for some good link climbing here at the moment. But we can go ahead and resolve the Havnus, and we will make Bahamut here. Yeah, we're gonna make Bahamut here. So we'll go ahead and summon the Mud Dragon, and then we'll overlay these two. What's important in this situation is before you summon the Toad, you're gonna run out of space if you summon Toad here. So something you wanna do before you do this is because we have Destrudo engrave, we'll go ahead and pay half our life, summoning the Destrudo, and we will target the Shiren. So now, if we do some quick maths, Destrudo's 3, Tier Cash is 7. So we can go ahead and synchro. This will go to the bottom deck when it leaves the field. Send this. For now, the Barone. Fantastic. Love this card. Now, continuing, we can actually use Trivia Karma to get us a search. In this instance, we can see what we have, but we can either take Scream or Heartbeat. Heartbeat's really good into Unchained. If they set a trap and activate an Unchained targeting to pop the trap, you can shuffle it back. If we know our opponent's playing Unchained or like even Labyrinth, we can grab the Heartbeat. I think in this instance, we'll just go ahead and grab Scream. And now what's also pretty nice here, so we can use Barone, target the Shiren, and then now we can use Shiren's effect, shuffling itself back, Merly, and Rhino Heart. So we'll put these back and summon Kaleido. And keep note, in this instance, I can use Planet to pop Kaleido, but we're not going to because there's nothing really else we need to mill, and we haven't even used Beatrice yet. So this is still locked and loaded, ready to go. And now we can finally go ahead and use Bahamut Shark to summon out our Toad. So something that's really nice with this board, after this, we can go ahead and make our SP. And because we used an extra deck monster milled off our opponent, we can also get the Banish off SP and make it be relevant. So it's also really, really nice. If we're counting what we have here, after we set the Super Poly, we have a Negate, a Spin Back, a Foolish Burial for any tier card, a Foolish Burial for any card, a Pop, a Blink with SP Little Knight to also reset the Barone, which is a Barone Negate. We also have a Toad, Negate, and Steal. And Toad can also add us back the Tier Cash for follow-up. And then we have fodder to pitch with the Super Poly and follow up with King Sark. Yeah. Tearlaments strongest, apparently, still. As you can see, this deck is absolutely insane. But anyway, if you liked the video and you stuck around this long, please let me know in the comments below. It really helps a lot. And if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing as well. It would definitely help out the channel and I would appreciate it immensely. Thank you all for sticking around this long, and until next time, peace.